So, I have prepared some questions for you.
All right.
Are you excited?
Yes.
Are you really?
No, I'm curious. So, I'm going to start now. All right.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about sound channeling.
Yes.
Which is your specialty. And I have prepared a few questions, but I have not really researched it on purpose because I wanted to know your perspective, exactly how it's happening for you, from you, and what is your take on it.
So what is it? What do I do?
So, first of all, what is it? That's the first question. What is it?
Well, if I could answer you that.
So, I'm a 5-year-old child. Let's start with a 5-year-old child.
That would be an interesting conversation because the first time I think I actually did this was when I was about that age. So basically, the simplest way of explaining it is intuitive singing with no preconception of words or pitch or melody or rhythm. I just start to sing. Now, if I want to give you a more spiritual component to that, what I do intentionally, first of all, is I set myself to 0 as much as I can, so no expectations. And then I connect with whoever I want to channel for, so sing for. That could be one person or it could be a group of people. I do that with my intention, and then I also set the intention to let whatever wants to flow through to me from whichever other dimension outside of myself to flow through me. So, and then I just started to sing. And I never know what comes out before I open my mouth. I mean, I do. When I'm in the flow, I kind of hear what I need to sing. But it's not like, oh, today it's going to sound like this. You know? I don't know that.
Right. You mentioned that first time it's like you almost answered my second question, which I had prepared for you, which was, how did you came across it? And because you mentioned that the first time it happened, it was when you were 5. So what happened and how?
Well, I mean, let's say the first time that I really found out about also, let's say, the potential of actually using this and the power behind this, that was last year. I had already 2-3 years ago, when I had been meditating, realized that sometimes I just felt like singing. And I did that and it felt good, and it was like no words specifically, sometimes mantras, but it also, like, I'm not a frequent meditator. Maybe I will be. But so it was just every once in a while, and I never thought much of it. And last year, I had a session with a friend of mine who's an intuitive energy guide, very talented. And so we worked with that a little bit. And after that, I felt for the first time this encouragement and a kind of, well, I'm not crazy feeling, that I felt safe to actually try it out more. And I realized that it's doing something. And with respect to what you said about when I was 5, of course, then once you start exploring a new gift, you start to, you know, try to remember, well, have I always done this? And I remember one very specific evening. As a child, I would always love standing in front of mirrors. And I was in the bathroom with my hairbrush as a microphone in front of the mirror, and I was just singing what people would say would be gibberish, like no words at all. But I remember that I knew exactly what it meant. Like I knew exactly what it meant. Couldn't reproduce it the way that it had come out, but I knew what it meant. And I was so like full of energy, you know, and I went to the living room to show my parents because I think they had been calling me anyway. And so I'm singing this and they're like, you know, because, and I don't even remember, like, I don't want to say they disapproved of it or they laughed. I don't really quite remember. What I do remember is that they didn't understand. And then I started not understanding and I think I dismissed it, right? And I don't actually know if I did this many times, but I do remember this one time. And that's very, very much what I do now. It sounds, well, I don't want to say it sounds like gibberish because it actually does sound quite beautiful, but it's not words that you can understand with the mind, but often I understand what I'm saying, just not with my mind.
I wanted just to kind of, now that you shared what it is, once I was in like a retreat camp for 5 days, and it was not like training for certification, but it was like meditation in different forms of healing work that we were doing on our heart chakra. And one of the ladies who were there, her partner actually warned us when she gets in a meditative state, she starts singing opera in Italian, even though she's not Italian and she's not opera singer. It just happens spontaneously. So I guess I have already in my life witnessed that. And honestly, when she started singing it really proper, like opera kind of thing, it feels like there is something else coming through her when she is doing it. So do you feel like, how do you feel when you channel? What is is there any difference between those states, how you are now, and if you're doing just a normal session with a client and when you channel the sound?
That's a good question. I do definitely feel this connection to the heart pretty much during every channeling. For me, I think the most profound change I notice is after the channeling, because it gets me in this kind of state where, like, I don't know if you see, I think you saw a video of mine. Afterwards, when I say what I perceived during the channeling, I'm in this really soft space, and this is how I'll speak, and there's this, and like, it's just like, I just become like super soft, I think, and yeah, this is like the most profound change. And during the singing, it's just, it's different because it differs with the message. I mean, there's always a heart connection, but then for some people, you know, in some phases of the song, I will feel the sadness, or I will feel the struggle, or I will feel excitement. I remember one channeling that I did for a couple, and it was just the most amazing feeling because it was like almost as if the universe or God or whatever you believe in was so excited about this connection. Like, and I felt this in my singing, and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. You know? So yeah, I guess what I've perceived goes with whatever the message is.
Did you notice any trends, like particular messages comes with any kind of particular sounds or tones or anything like that?
No. I mean, for me, I guess I can distinguish between 3 different styles. Never thought about that, but there were a few times where I was quite surprised that what I was singing sounded really oriental. Like you had the fourth notes that we don't usually have in our Western music. And if I consciously thought about reproducing these notes, I couldn't do it. But as I was channeling, it sounded like some kind of sacred Arabic song. That happens sometimes. Then there's another style that feels really tribal to me. It's very like, it's almost like in the song there's a drum. There's this like very earth-based and feels kind of African to me. I hate these generalizations, by the way, like African, Oriental. I know these are big regions, but just like for that, very tribal. And then there's another style that's probably the most common that is just kind of where there's a lot of classical singing coming through, and it's more etheric. That seems like really like a connection to other dimensions to me. Yeah, this is like a more melodic, or at least definitely more classical than the rest of them.
Okay, so basically you mentioned the question that I was about to ask. You came across the fact that they are doing something. So my question is, how did you realize that they are healing from your own experience?
So the first channelings I did were just kind of random, let's say, with no intention behind them except to see what happens. And people were always deeply moved. But I've never received such overwhelming feedback, positive feedback, as with my channeling. So I realized something is happening there. What I have noticed is in my sessions with clients, sometimes I felt the impulse to sing. And as you know, what I do, and you do as well, is inner child work, where we meet the inner child. And what I realized is so far, every time I followed this impulse to sing, I always asked my client if that would be okay, but whenever I did that, it was like session accelerated by 500%. Like things that normally would take like another half hour of sitting with an emotion or sitting with this inner child or trying to figure out the needs, it was just like 5 minutes. And it was just like, hit the gas and zoom through it. Like I would sometimes perceive something in the song that I then, I always try to gauge what can I say to the person. And then when I say it, they're like, oh yeah, already happened when you were singing. So I'm like, okay. So I guess the reason why that works so well is because music affects and reaches our brain in a different way than language. So first of all, like music activates like so many areas all over the brain, which is proven. But also, when you are yourself in a therapy or a coaching session, there's always your logical brain that even if you are in the deepest emotion, is holding on to control, is analyzing, is observing. And it's not a bad quality because it's just trying to protect you. But with my singing, except for saying, I don't understand this, there's nothing your logical mind can say, right? Because there's no words that you can analyze, and there's no melodic structure that it's going to repeat 5 times and you already know what's coming. So I guess this is what allows the person to let go in that moment, and also allows the brain to make connections that it otherwise wouldn't make because of the quality of music, because of the effects of music on the brain.
Do you believe that the sound itself, like if we both agree that things are energy and different frequencies of vibration, including our physical body or things around us, do you think it also has like a, or can have direct physical effect on the body?
Yeah, absolutely. Because of the way that you trigger or don't trigger emotions, and emotions can have a direct effect. If you're asking if it can heal like an illness in an instant, I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that it directly affects your physical body. Because, again, because of the way, it affects the brain, and that regulates, hormones and all of this stuff, that affects your physical state like immediately. Like, everybody knows, you listen to a song, like a happy song that you like, and you want to move your body and you just feel better, and it's because it changes your physicality, it changes your hormones, your emotions. So yeah, I definitely think it can have a direct effect on the body. In terms of healing, just through sound, I am not sure. I know there's a lot of, like sound healing with singing and singing bowls. And my uneducated guess right now is that it does good things, and it does relax you a lot and gets you out of your mental space, which is very healthy. I do think that to truly heal like an illness or something, there's more that needs to be done in that. But if you really get your body into a relaxed state and get out of your headspace and your worries and anxieties and fears about maybe an illness, then that will contribute greatly to your healing. Because otherwise the body, you don't have a chance to heal if you're so obsessed about all these different possibilities of things going wrong.
Yeah, they say that body wants to heal, you just need to get out of the way.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So I guess from what I am understanding what you are saying about the sound, main thing that it does is switch us off, almost like this kind of guardian type of blockage, full of blockages layer of the mind, which really allow proper state of allowance and receptivity to let
Mm.
the or whatever you're doing in the session connections to take place.
Mhm.
When that's removed.
And creativity too, because sometimes you're stuck when you're doing this kind of inner work and you don't know, okay, I don't know what to do now. That music actually enhances your creativity because of all these different connections you can make suddenly. So I think, yeah, that's how it contributes as well.
Okay. So, would you like to do channeling of the sound on me?
On you, okay. So
Random. Let's say, because my state has been a bit of I would be curious because I would like to kind of observe, what are the sensations and the things after it. So it would be whatever you pick up. I'm completely open to
okay, yeah.
whatever comes through.
My only restricting intention for this would be that it would be rather short because it's Sunday and the walls are thin where I live. But yeah. Okay, so I will make my usual announcement, which is to just try to connect with your heart and don't try to analyze, because what you're going to hear is not going to be understood by your mind, but by your body and your energy system and your heart. And let's see. I could go on for a while. So,
wow.
what I perceived And it's funny because we had a conversation before this interview was it's a song of encouragement for you to to move forward, to follow your joy and your just take the steps, like so I could just like feel you walk in this, and to know that you're not alone, you can trust it.
Thank you. I wanted to share my experiences.
Sure.
As I was listening to it, definitely the encouraging type of energy I could pick up, because it feels like there is some kind of feeling or energy of being brave to continue and kind of like moving ahead, like even despite something hard, like there is a hope, there is this strive, there is this, you know, direction, there is this future, and there is this power to go somewhere. And I could also, like, my body was reacting physically. I could feel the heat building up in my body. It started in my heart area. It was like, I could feel like literally, imagine when you drink some hot drink. I'm very sensitive. I'm physically very sensitive. So next to like intense kind of energy people or experiences, my body reacts. It's like even if I don't understand what's happening, I'm reacting. So when you drink hot tea and you feel this warm feeling in your stomach, the same was happening with my heart area. Then I actually was sweating during this song, and I could feel also, you know, like when you feel the resonance, but like a physical resonance going through my heart area and kind of throat area up until to my heart. So it almost felt like it's kind of like a clearing, like pretty much what you said, like clearing things, like in my mind space, in my communication space, you know, head energies, the chakras, and sorry. Let's start again. So what I was feeling, I was basically feeling this massive kind of clearing effect, which I could feel like physically, like my head here vibrating, here vibrating, here vibrating, even like a vibrations up into my throat.
Interesting.
So it was, even if it was short, it was like interesting. And now I feel like a sense of relief.
Yeah, it's funny because now I can feel my crown chakra tingle. Yeah.
Well, I thank you for this free session.
You're welcome.
Which I feel lucky to be able to incorporate.
I'll send you the bill later.
Okay. Special friends discount.
Yeah.
Interesting, very interesting. Like I think I understand it much more, you know, what you mean about also probably how the clients must have felt after that, and why would it feel like, why would the session would move ahead after this?
Yeah. I actually have this picture here. That is, oops, there you go. Me and my voice teacher, there you go. Several years ago. Yeah, so what I haven't talked about so far is that like I have a classical education in singing. I studied with this lady, but she was my third voice teacher. And there was one time during a meditation, I thought, why is everything so difficult? Because my career as a singer just didn't want to happen. And then it just like hit me that my spiritual and psychological development has always been intricately connected with my singing. So my first spiritual breakthrough, if you want, was through reading Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now, which has been given to me by someone I met in Italy, where I went to study Italian, mainly for my singing, also because I love the language, but also for the singing. So then I fell madly in love with a conductor through singing, which then led to a depression because, he was not available. My voice teacher at the time was super spiritual, pretty strong energy healer person, a bit messed up in his head, but good person at the core. So that's how I got in touch with energy healing the first time. Then I go to the States. There are these ladies, students of this lady from before, who give me this book, The Anatomy of the Spirit, by Caroline Myss, which I loved. My voice teacher, this lady, tells me about her husband, who used to be a medium, and she herself has healing hands as well. So like all these things, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God. And every time, of course, I would hit another wall with not being able to advance, I'd have to look inside. So as much as I still kind of sometimes think, why could I not just have a career in opera? I'm also like, oh my God, maybe that's what it is. Like, maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So, and I have a friend, you know her as well, who once expressed her concern that there was a super high-speed connection between me and my voice teacher, and this is going to be super esoterical, but I once had a session myself where I saw my voice teacher being there at my birth and holding the baby, and I in that session had to actually be like, thank you, it's okay, I can carry myself now. That was super interesting to me, because I know I'm losing all these people who are not into the spiritual world right now, but there definitely was, or not so strong anymore, but was this intense connection between me and her. And the last time that I went to see her, she said to me, I think you're probably not only going to do singing in your life, you're also going to do something to help people. And she had this kind of wicked sixth sense too, So yeah, like a lot of things are starting to make sense now.
So it is almost like the whole intention, like life intention. It has never been only about singing only professionally. There was always this another spiritual healing, helping aspect along.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't always spiritual. It was also very intellectual at the start, and I still love performing. But I think if I were to do it only, if that was the only thing that I was doing, then I would ask myself, what am I contributing to the world? Except that people have a nice night every now and then, except that people are entertained. And for sure that can inspire people, you know, but I would always be missing this, having a greater impact, positive impact on people's lives in terms of healing or inspiration or taking action, you know, whatever. That would be missing if I were just a performer.
I think people would be missing out on a great healer.
Aww.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you feel that is important to share about sound, voice, channeling?
My journey has been a lot about away, or not away from the head, but into the body and into the heart, if you want. But for the intellectual people, not to stay in the brain, and for the spiritual people, not to search so much outside, because for me, the breakthroughs have really come the more I connected with my physical body, as opposed to looking for something outside of me. Because for me, that outside of me was always there, you know, and I thought I had to go even more outside of me, when the opposite was true. And I mean, no matter what you believe, if you are spiritual, if you're not spiritual, what is proven scientifically is that sound does affect the brain on like very, very many different levels. And yeah, just to be mindful, maybe in general, what kind of music you surround yourself with. But in terms of channeling, no, there's nothing except keep an open mind and heart. If anyone has any more questions, email me or something. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. It was very interesting. I feel different than I felt at the beginning of conversation. So it did something.
Me too, though. Like, it's like you just get into like a different state. Can't even explain it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was fun.
And it was a pleasure talking to you once again.
Me too.
Bye.
I'll see you again next time.
Bye. Now we laugh for 2 minutes. And now we
Then we can fade it out.
and then like